Hey guys, another video, and today we're going to go the world and just going over some weapon mods and also some different recon bugulator recommended suggestions that I'm going to be giving you guys. So we're going to go ahead and just jump in to save the world. Now guys, if you're wondering why I've got my comment section on the right, that is just in case any of you join the stream want to jump in and join me. The stream may be lasting within half an hour to an hour, so if anyone wants to come in and join, trade, things like that, that will also be appreciated as well. We'll be starting a stream later on tonight for trading and other things like that. If any of you guys would like to come in and trade, then obviously we'll bring the community together and do that. So to begin with, we're just going to go ahead and look at what different weapons they have in the regular collection book, so in the normal pool that you can grab, and then we'll have a look at event weapons and obviously different things you can do with them. So we're going to go over basic statistics and other things within weapons. We're going to go ahead and have a look at recommended perks depending on the weapons and what you guys need to look out for when getting the weapons, so you know exactly how to perk it up. Because I know a lot of people are always like, hey, Windchurcher, they'll invite me to a party and I'll be playing with them. What perks do you recommend for, let's say, my Gravedigger? And it comes down to personal preference sometimes, but as long as you have a basic understanding of what you need on it, then the other perks that you want to put on it as well should come to you naturally. Like the Gravedigger is a crit build weapon. Obviously it's fire element at default, but you can change the element on the weapon, which makes it a little better. And also you need to have a look at the rolls and obviously the impact, the fire rate, the reload speed and things like that. And when it comes down to the damage perk at the end of the weapon, it really comes down to personal preference. If you want that extra chip of damage, or you would like that reload speed, and have I like damage to afflicted, but there's nothing else really you can put over that one that would really make a massive difference to the weapon. Obviously miss monsters and bosses, but the affliction damage does stack, and obviously it makes the damage of the weapon much greater. Obviously this weapon is a crit build. It's just because of how amazing the weapon is at crit, because of how good the weapon is in general. So yeah, that's there like that, obviously, and there's not really much else to say about that one. So yeah, we did get up a couple weapons, sorry, but off screen. So I did get my typewriter 106 Shadow Shard. I will be doing a weapon review on the typewriter sometime soon, maybe tonight, this evening, or maybe some other time soon. But that'll be coming out soon, obviously, for you guys who have been looking forward to me making a typewriter review. I know it's been 80 for a long time, and I'm working on it, so we will obviously see what we can do with this weapon. There's not much else to say really. I am working on my candy corn for you guys. I know I'm not as fast as other YouTubers because I don't play the game back to back 24/7, but I am going to be getting that one up for you guys as well, just to fully complete the Halloween collection for now anyway, until they bring out another Halloween weapon, which hopefully they should do before the event finishes. So let's go over weapons in the collection book, and obviously which weapons you want to be looking out for and why you want to be looking out for these weapons. So to begin with, we going over the assault rifle section. There is a very fine line between what's good and what's bad in this area. Obviously you guys want to be looking for purple and gold weapons depending on where you are in the game. I mean, to begin with, at the game in Stonewood, of course common green and blue weapons will always be there, but gold weapons always deal the most amount of damage, have the most perks on them, and have the best potential of you carrying those forward further into your game. So we'll have a look forward with these three main steps to begin with: semi-auto, burst, and fully automatic. Now guys, this is all down to personal preference, what you as a player would prefer the best. Are you a person who likes semi-automatics, bursts, or fully automatics? It's really like personal preference. I like a fully automatic gun, a gun that you can spray down and like literally just blast it as much as you want into, let's say, a smasher, and watch its health just go down. But obviously some players like to be a bit more skillful, resourceful with their ammunition, and play it safe. Let's say for that example, your best weapon of choice is the Hunter Killer, and this is the weapon right here. So we'll go ahead and just show it off right here. This is the Hunter Killer. It's a semi-automatic assault rifle. It does look really nice, but yes, it is a semi-automatic and has a very high amount of damage because of it being semi-automatic. Now you're wondering to yourself, semi-automatic, does it have a limited fire rate? Can you just like spam your little trigger finger till the sun don't shine and get this to blooming spray as much as you want? Yes and no. This is where the recon bugulator comes in, and the mods for your weapons. You could probably, I'm not too sure on it because I haven't looked at the build for the Hunter Killer, but most likely with every other gun in the game you can put fire rate on it, obviously, unless it is a weapon like a single bolt action sniper rifle cannot have fire rate. But this weapon here If you can put fire rate on it, it will increase the speed of your trigger finger, and obviously how fast the bullets will come out, and obviously how fast you can spam it, and obviously it will do a lot of damage. With the hunting killer though, read the description: semi-automatic, a versatile rifle that towards careful aim with a high headshot damage that can be fired very rapidly in a pinch. So it's a very rapid weapon as well for being a semi-auto. The only downside is you cannot hold down your shooting thing, your trigger, obviously, unless you have a scuff or a modified controller which allows you to do that. But for you default people out there like me, we will have to spam our fingers till the sun don't shine. Now, if you're a player that wants a fully automatic stable weapon, obviously you've got yourself the Siegebreaker. It's a very good assault rifle. It's very versatile and is very much controlled better in controlled bursts. But if you guys get the perks right on this weapon, which I'll go on about soon, it is a very good weapon and it can spray down onto enemies. Now, I'm just looking at this weapon now, and it actually has affliction on it, and I don't actually have a Siegebreaker with affliction on, so that's it's a little bit of a pain in the backside, but that's alright. And obviously, if you guys like burst weapons, the razor blade's in there as well. It's also a very good weapon. It would be interesting to see a version of the razor blade come out without the stock on the back, or maybe stock ends up becoming a perk later in the future of the game, and like magazine size would make the gun look different and other things like that. Like in Call of Duty games, if you put stock on a weapon, it gets the back of the gun on there. If you put like extended mags, the drum, it changes from a clip to a drum barrel or something else like that. It'd be very interesting for them to see, or a suppressor would put a suppressor on the end of it and change the way the weapon works. It'd be very, and like sights and scopes and things. It'd be very interesting to see that come to the game, and hopefully they do that. But yes, this is a very versatile burst assault rifle, and but it does consume ammunition very quickly. If you like LMGs and you're not playing this event, there is the Terminator as an option as well. It is pretty useless, but if you want to hold 100 mag, well, have a 100 mag size and spray down the enemies, this here is an option for you. The reload's pretty slow, but it does give off a lot of damage, and obviously there are other weapons as well, but we won't really go over those. So that's it really for assault rifles, if you're really looking for those ones in there. If you guys, obviously you've got your assault rifle chosen now, we're going to go over shotgun. So what shotgun would I recommend for you guys? I highly recommend going over to like the room sweeper side of it, because the room sweeper is very good at taking out waves of husks and also dealing massive amount of damage to Miss Monster and bosses. I would also say that the Nightclaw is a very good shotgun. My power level 115 to 125 friends are starting to use this weapon because of how good it is. It has recently been buffed, so it actually has increased amount of damage. So that is also a very good weapon to look out for. I highly recommend staying away from the backbreaker. It's not that good of a weapon. I recommend staying a little far away from the Maverick, the Bear, and the Thunderbolt. These weapons here, and obviously the tac shotgun. These weapons here are not very useful compared to the other two that I spoke of. So you guys choose a fully automatic weapon with not so much range that does just blasts out a load of damage, and also has a drum barrel, so has a quick reload, obviously with the reload speed on there, or pretty much a pump shotgun that deals heavy amount of damage with like a controlled fire rate. It's personal choice there, guys. Those two are my two personal favorite default shotguns. Obviously my number one would be the room sweeper, my number one for the assault rifles would be Siegebreaker. So going down to the pistols, if you are a pistol player, I highly recommend getting yourself the where is it? The Haywire Storm. Yeah, there we go. The Haywire Storm, in my personal opinion, is one of the best pistols out there. Obviously as a default pistol back to the Fountain's Revolt, and obviously other pistols that have been released for it. It has very low damage, but it has a very fast fire rate, and that is what makes this weapon amazing, because it has that high fire rate, and that's why I personally really like this weapon. There are obviously other options, like we have the Zap Zap, which is incredibly overpowered if used correctly, and also the Bolt, which a load of people have given this weapon hate. It doesn't look very relatively decent, but it is very strong. So I do recommend you guys looking at those three pistols if you ever get the chance to. Obviously the Freedom's Herald is also a good pistol, but it doesn't really, I wouldn't really class it as a pistol because of the way it works. It is more of a firework. It shoots out, it's more of like a pistol launcher with a low damage and impact. But I do recommend those ones I was going on about. Keep away from fully automatic pistols because they are very tedious to use and have very terrible recoil. Obviously, if you guys are going for collection stuff, obviously grab those and put them in your collection book. But out of personal gains, I wouldn't really go for those ones and use those and level them up and things like that. I highly recommend perking up these guys if you've got those and you do enjoy using pistols. Ah, so we do have a 6-shooter pistol. Didn't even realise. Huh. Anyway, moving on over to sniper rifles. Depending on the player you are, we do have bolt actions and we have obviously triple shots, so burst snipers and things like that. The only sniper I highly recommend for you guys is the Super Shredder, and that is mainly because it is a very overpowered shotgun sniper hybrid. Some would like to say what happens with this weapon is when you fire it, it shoots out like a concentrated amount of shotgun pellets, which 1,000 meters and it's very concentrated power. This was my main in Plankerton, and it is a very good weapon. So there is no reason why I should get rid of that. So I highly recommend that sniper. But if I was to go over another sniper rifle, which I really loved when I was back there, is the Deathwing. Only I had the Founder's Exterminator, so I wasn't really paying attention to the Deathwing. But obviously the Deathwing is a very good weapon. It is a very good weapon. It's very strong if you single fire it, but it can turn into fully automatic if you decide to hold down your finger, just at the lack of with a bit of recoil. But it is a very good weapon overall. Other than that, pretty much every other sniper rifle around here is not so good. Explosive weapons, I highly recommend both of these. They are both amazing weapons, and obviously you can start using them as little as blue because these weapons are very good. The only downside to some of these are the durability. They do drain very quickly, and that is why you need to put durability as a perk on pretty much every standard launcher, and more launchers to come, depending on what it is, obviously, and how they work. But I do really recommend you guys get a holdful of both of these and try out which one you prefer the most. A bazooka, which you could just spam down, which obviously has a little less durability, or a 6-magazine thumper, which in my opinion is just as good and maybe sitting just behind the snowball launcher. It goes above the Easter egg launcher but sits behind the snowball launcher, so it is a very good one out there, and also they can both be any element of choice. So I do highly recommend you guys go ahead and choose one of these two to be one of your main launchers. Obviously, if you were fortunate enough to go for an event or maybe the birthday event and cop out some of those super old rare launchers, then I highly recommend you guys use those as well, because the older launchers are amazing. If you're playing this event right now and you have got your hands on a Jacko launcher, it is a good cover for the bazooka, but it's not as versatile and as good as other launchers that are out there, also known as the actual bazooka, which actually deals more damage and impact than the Jacko launcher. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a cool launcher, aesthetically pleasing to look at and use, but in practicality, it is not as good as other launchers that are out there, meaning Dam Buster, Noble Launcher, Quad Launcher, other things like that. It does kind of fall under. Nothing else really from that, really, guys. It's just we'll go ahead and just look at whatever weapons they have out there and obviously go over those as well. But now we're going over to melee weapons, so if you guys are copying out ninjas, or maybe you guys want to use like scythe swords and other things just to rock around with your inventory and your little loadouts, then sure, we will go over what swords are also very good and other things like that. So I highly recommend you guys go very versatile. I haven't very got much personal feeling towards these weapons because I'm not really a melee player, but they are pretty decent swords from what me and my friends have experienced in the past. And yeah, I just highly recommend you guys get these swords if you guys want to. Pretty much every sword here, apart from the Greatsworth, I think the Husk Cleaver even is pretty decent, because the Slice and Dice is very good as well. So I do recommend pretty much all these swords here, apart from that one. Moving over to axes, if you guys really have to use an axe, I would just recommend using the medium axe, the Revenant's Wraith, just because it's, well, not only does it look the best, but it does have a little better perks than the other ones out there. The laser axe is, it's alright, but I just don't really recommend it over that one. The antler axe is just, well, the clax even is just no. It's just no. But yeah, I do recommend those ones there. And obviously for spears, I don't really use spears, but I think the Bloodletter is what it's called, or sorry, the Dissector is the spear I would recommend for you guys as well. This is not mainly personal preference, but you guys can go ahead and use whatever you like. And with scythes, unless you're running Harvester Sarah or Harvester Thora, whatever her name, I can't remember her name. I recommend the Elegant Scythe or the Laser Scythe. It really doesn't matter, they are both very good weapons. Obviously one comes as energy and the other one can be any element. There's a little error right now just with broadcast, but yeah, this should be alright. we're saying go ahead and look at the clubs and other things, but no one really uses these unless they're running constructor, so I'm not really going to go over those because I don't really use those personally. But yeah, from what I've said so far, I highly recommend those weapons. So we're not going to look at event things because obviously some of you guys may not have got the event items. I'm going to die. Hey, welcome to the stream, thank you for joining, and obviously please enjoy the video. I've just been going over what weapons I recommend for players and other things like that, so if you guys would like to see that one later on, just go back on the video and obviously that's there for you. But yeah guys, that is what I recommend for the those weapons, and I'm just going to talk about what perks go on what kind of weapons, and obviously how we're going to go about doing this. Alright, so we're going to go over the recon bucculator, and obviously to get to reperk your weapons, you're going to have to be in Plankton and complete your first Storm Shield defense, and a quest line will come up in your side quests, and you just go ahead and complete those. It will give you some perk up options and perk up some weapons with a handful of reperk and a bunch of perk up, so you guys can go ahead and have a look at those when those come through. But for now, we're just going to go take a look at what you should reperk and how you should perk up weapons. And to do this, I'm just going to look at a defaulty weapon that I haven't really changed. Now, I do have obviously 3 drum rolls, so I can use one as a prime example of how I went about reperking it. So if you went ahead and looked at this schematic, you would first of all think, okay, cool, it's a pretty rare weapon, it's quite expensive to grab, and obviously there is some element of difference to other LMGs out there. Namely, number one first, it does have a high fire rate. Anyway, thank you so much. I can't pronounce your name, but thank you. It does have a very high fire rate compared to other weapons in the game at 12 at default, with pretty decent moderate crit hit and crit damage, which obviously the chance and damage is usually the same to the other stock weapons. It does have a fairly decent mag size, usually at 50, but it does have a regular mag size on there. So I do recommend maybe getting that one up as well. But you need to have a look at the perks on this weapon. It has not very much range. It has a normal fair amount of durability, a decently relative crafting price, obviously because it is only a purple weapon, it's going to be cheaper than a gold weapon. The impact is relatively decent as well, but these perks here, you're going to have to base it off how you're going to go about reperking it. Now to begin with, the default mag reload speed I believe is fairly slow, so maybe you'd want to bump that up and go ahead and put reload speed on there just to make it a bit faster. The fire rate as well is incredibly insane on this weapon. So you might want to go ahead and put fire rate on it and bump up that fire rate and make it even faster, or maybe you want to go ahead with the crit rolls. I don't know, it really depends what is up to you. We can go ahead and just have a look here. So you could go ahead with the crit damage, you go with another crit damage, and then you could, I don't know, crit chance, crit damage weapon. I'm not too sure on how you'd roll this weapon out, but I went with double fire rate just because I wanted it to be crazy. And then also what you could do, guys, is you could go ahead and put weapon stability on it, because it does, I know it comes on it as a default, but it does change the gun dramatically, and it does make it even better than what it is without it on there. You need to go about using the weapon with its stock perks and have a feel for the weapon, and obviously understand how it works and how you can improve it. And that is why, like, there are new weapons that have been released. Obviously, guys, if you've gone ahead and played the event, we have received the Candy Corn LMG, and I highly recommend you guys going ahead and building it to how you feel it should go. For me, I don't have enough perk up yet, but I'm going to go with a crit build on this weapon. Mainly the first one being crit damage with crit rating and another crit damage, and then I'm going to go ahead the ways of making this one reload speed, because I do not really recommend for myself making that mag size higher, because it does have a lot of ammo already in stock, and I do want it to be fairly quicker than 4 seconds for a reload. So I really do want to cut that down to maybe like half the time, or maybe 3/4 of the time. So I do want it to get down to about 1.52-ish area. Obviously you can't change the element, so that's perfectly fine like that, but for me, a crit build on a fast firing weapon with a pretty decent relatively fast fire rate at 10.8 is a very good weapon, which you're going to be hitting crits left, right and center, so that is the only reason why I go for that. Fast firing weapons, I recommend putting crit building, or depending on how you play the game, full damage perks or crit perks, not really concentrating on like weapon stability and fire rate and things like that, because you want to get as much damage out there as possible. Obviously some players who are new to the game measure their weapons in DPS, but I do not recommend you going ahead and measuring your weapons like that. Obviously my highest level weapon is going to be my Hydra, but this for some reason has leveled at my second, but I would not rate it as one of my highest, like my best weapon. They do rate the weapons by rating and how good they are, but that is the system doing it and not counting how the crit builds work and how the weapon works in general. That is just doing all the math and sticking it together and putting it there on the list. So yeah, you may have a weapon that is at the top of your list telling you it's the best weapon in there, but in reality there are other weapons out there that are much better than that weapon and used for different practical reasons. So I really recommend you guys going about doing building weapons to how you feel they are right and how you feel they suit to your playstyle. And obviously if a player would like your weapon and they complain about the perks, well, you tell them to go get their own weapon and perk it to how they want to perk it, because it is built for your own self and how you play the game. Remember, this game is all about like playing around, changing things and choosing your own playstyle. There's different subclasses and heroes to use to go ahead and choose and find your own playstyle. With me, that's being a constructor at times, or maybe a soldier, even sometimes an outlander, but never a ninja, because me personally, I don't like them, and I know a lot of other my friends and YouTubers who do not like using those as well. So you know, that's just there. Anyway, so with other weapons here as well, there are different things you can do with weapons. So you can go ahead and like for like, let's say a siege breaker. My siege breaker used to be a fully fledged damage like bullet storm, and that was when Blockbuster event came out when they first introduced the recon buckulator. I was like, whoa, this thing needs to be a full damage loadout. Then I stuck fire on it and messed around with it a little bit. Yeah, sure, it has a high DPS, but this weapon is only ever used to fight off water element enemies. I built this when I was very new to the build, and obviously if you look at this weapon now, it is disgusting compared to what normal players would build their weapons like. Nowadays everyone goes with a crit build and makes their weapons do it, and the only reason why they go for a crit build is because critical hit chance and critical hit damage is meta. Okay, what that means is it is in the system, and it is the best way to get the most amount of like force pushed out of that weapon at this current time. You can deal the most amount of damage with a crit weapon, but you have to know what type of weapon to crit. Because if you had, for example, a weapon with like, let's say 6 bullets in a clip or something like very low, like let's for example a Hydra, it has only a 10 magazine size with a critical hit chance of like very low. So if you had a critical hit chance, let's say like the Gravedigger of 38%, it will barely ever hit those, and you'll be constantly reloading and trying to get those out. And obviously because the weapon isn't that fast, it will not really be hitting out those hitting out those crits. So obviously with the Gravedigger, it does hold more ammo and is a very fast weapon, so it has a higher chance of hitting those, a 38% chance. So pretty much within every 5 bullets you shoot out, one of those will crit and get up to 185% damage of what the initial shot was. So it is very different to actually see how the game works, and obviously to see how the weapons have changed over time, because back then this was amazing and now it's just not. And I built weapons to how I like them and not to how the system liked them. So you know, it's a bit of a hit and miss, but back then it was a lot different to how it is now. I'm going to go ahead and just remove comments for a second, and we're just going to go ahead and go over what other things you could do. So with like swords and other things, I built this to have double attack speed, but then made it Shadow Shard, and that actually increased the attack speed to make it even slower, when I should have made Obsidian, which would have made it even faster. So you know, it's a bit of a hit and miss when it comes to this game. It's a little weird at times, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got pretty much to say about the crit builds and other things like that. Obviously guys, there is a giveaway coming out for the Candy Corn LMG, and if you guys want to participate, please leave a comment down below on obviously your favourite weapon that is out right now and why. Really just, I don't know, just spreads the love around the community, and obviously allows you guys to see what maybe guns that other people like, and maybe you could try out, and that's where the trading side could come in. Obviously guys, I might be starting a Discord server, maybe a PS4 community, where you guys can go ahead and message and trade. But just let me guys know what you guys think on there. Obviously smash that like button to show me that you're supporting the channel, and yeah, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. You know guys, I really want to make this channel grow, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a dream that we all get sometimes. To just be a bigger YouTuber and obviously get more noticed by Save the World community players, because this is one of my favourite games out there. So it would be really cool to allow me to obviously grow my channel out. But yeah, there's not really else much to say here, apart from the fact that there are a few more weapons I would like to upgrade. But guys, I will be getting my perk items up, and I will be doing another weapon to 106. So I will go ahead and show you guys my weapons, and please let me know down below what weapons I should level up to 106. I will go through all of my weapons, including the power level 21s, and get them up to all blue rolls for you guys, and you guys can choose what rolls you'd like on them. So please let guys, we're gonna go through those now, and let me know which ones you'd like me to do up. This is going from 82s all the way down to level 20s or 15s, but I will make those gold as well for you guys. Expect it, if it is a purple weapon, to come out within the next 2 weeks, because I do not have much flux, and obviously if it is another weapon, give me a few days and that one should be out as well. So we've got the bundle bust, the dam buster, the pulverizer. I'm not even going to say the names, I'll just go over the weapons and you guys can see them. But yeah, so these are all the weapons that I'm keeping right now. I have got a few in my collection book, but I will get some of these up for you. Obviously these are traps. I'm not sure why anyone want to see me get these traps up, but I could do that for you guys. So yeah, we have got a lot of power level 20 guns, and a few duplicates, but it's a bit of a hit and miss when it comes to this area. But that's pretty much all my guns down here. If one of you guys down there say do the blue drum roll, I'm gonna scream. But because it maxes out at 106. But yeah, that's pretty much it really, guys, for all my traps and weapons and things. Yeah, so that's pretty much it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.